This is our shalom, everybody. This is our prophets of awakening. This is our evening class, Sabbath class for the 8th of October, 2020, and we're gonna do our moment of silence in regards to what the Lord of Hosts is doing in the earth and His hand in our deliverance from these lands that we have been scattered abroad, and then we're gonna go into a prayer and then go into current events. Okay. Oh Lord, we come before Thee at the closing of this Shabbat, thanking You for Your mercy and great power. We appreciate You, O Lord, and Your patience and guidance in the last days. In these last days, O Lord, we thank You for awakening us to this great understanding of Your word. We come before You, keep, direct, and guide us through the upcoming week, O Lord, for there are trials, pestilences, and mayhem at every turn. O Lord, we see Your mighty hand in the world affairs and how You are constructing Your people's deliverance. And we trust and rely upon Thee. For this cause, we honor and respect You greatly. Turn not Thy face from us, but allow us in our searching of You to find You, O Lord, and dwell with You. Peace be unto You. Okay. So with that being said, anybody got any current events? Yeah, I was going to talk about that. I don't know if anybody saw it, but they got this. All of a sudden, had this doctor that came that defected from Hong Kong, and so she claimed that she have a lot of evidence on how to combat the COVID-19. She said that Hong Kong had cut her off from what her research and stuff, and so she fled from there because she feared for her life. And so I'm just gonna wait and see what the outcome they're gonna be. Yeah. Has anybody else heard anything about that?
No, I didn't think about it.
Yeah, I just saw it today. I said I'm gonna wait and follow it, see what's going on with it. Okay. Anybody else got anything on current events?
I just see that Dr. Arikana. It says Ambassador Arikana Kwampo, shocking take on Zimbabwe, 3.5 million.
Okay.
Yeah, but it just showed up on my email. So.
Okay. Yeah, I think I saw that. Yeah. I think I saw that.
Yeah.
Let's see where I'm going. I'm going in the wrong direction. Okay. Okay. So yeah, what'd you say?
Trump signed 4 out of the 5 executive orders today.
Okay, what they in regard to?
He did all of them except the stimulus one.
Okay.
He did the rent to keep the people who rent from getting evicted. He did the student loan one. He did the payroll one, and it's one more that I'm trying to think of.
Utilities.
Instead of 600, he did 400 extra for unemployment.
Okay.
But it still has to be, go through the process. But that's the 4 that he signed today.
Okay. Ain't there some?
Yeah.
Right.
They arguing about, it should be 600, or we're not gonna sign nothing because it should be this and it should be that. It's like, are you worried about the people or you're not worried about the people?
Right, exactly. Right, that's crazy, man. Because like I said, it's at the point now where it's total disregard for the people, and that's supposed to be why they're there, for the people.
Right.
But it's totally disregard. That's been going on since Obama came in there. You know.
Right. The thing
Definitely,
ran out in July 31st, but you over here arguing how much
yeah.
it should be instead of just saying, let's just do something and get it done.
Right. And it ain't like you can't come up with the money because all you got to do is print it.
Right.
Yeah, it ain't no money problem as far as they go. Yeah. So,
That was it.
yeah, okay. Nobody else have nothing? Yeah, what I wanted to do was I wanted to shine a light on the fact that it's this, you know, I was reading this a couple of days ago, so I decided I was going to read this chapter today out of Jasher for the evening class because it's got this it's a lot of revealing stuff in it because a lot of people don't know this. Just like I was saying, they don't know the extent of the conflict between Esau and Jacob and how you know how volatile it was even until today. And a lot of that hatred and all that, it culminated at the transatlantic slave trade. The reason so much hostility was showed towards us because it was these Edomite Jews that was in charge of the transatlantic slave trade. So I'm gonna start reading this right here. I'm in chapter 58 of Jasher, and you know this like how we've been finding out through these uncomfortable conversations in these episodes is that you know, uncovering a lot of stuff that hadn't been brought to the forefront, and for us to have a better understanding of what they expect in the near future and why, you know, our predicament and what's expected of us as Hebrew Israelites. So I'm in Jasher chapter 58. Start reading at verse 1. It came to pass in the 32nd year of the Israelites going down to Egypt. That is in the 71st year of the life of Joseph. In that year died Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and Magaran, his son, reigned in his stead. And Pharaoh commanded Joseph before his death to be a father to his son, Magaran, and Magaran should be under the care of Joseph and under his counsel. And all Egypt consented to this thing, that Joseph should be king over them, for all the Egyptians loved Joseph as of heretofore. Only Magaran, the son of Pharaoh, sat upon his father's throne, and he became king in those days in his father's stead. So, what's going to start unfolding, you know, and once I shine a light on it, you're going to see that Joseph ended up being the embodiment of the Lord of hosts. What we look today and we look back on Egypt, the greatest civilization that existed, but Joseph was in charge of it, and he was in charge of it same way that the Most High have the Lord of hosts in heaven over his kingdom, and we're going to see that as we keep reading. So it says, Magaran was 41 years old when he began to reign, and 40 years he reigned in Egypt. And all Egypt called his name Pharaoh after the name of his father, as it were their custom to do in Egypt, to every king that reigned over them. And it came to pass, when Pharaoh reigned in his father's stead, he placed the laws of Egypt and all the affairs of the government in the hands of Joseph, as the father had commanded him. So you see that? So now Joseph, he's sat in the same position that Michael is. He's got somebody else on the throne, but Joseph had total control of the affairs that's going on. He's been given that by the Pharaoh, just like Michael been given that authority in heaven by Yahweh. It says, and it came to pass when the Pharaoh reigned in his father's stead, he placed the laws of Egypt and all the affairs of the government in the hands of Joseph, as his father had commanded him. Joseph became king over Egypt. He superintended over all Egypt, and all Egypt was under his care and under his counsel. For all Egypt inclined to Joseph after the death of Pharaoh, and they loved him exceedingly to reign over them. But there were some people among them who did not like him, saying, no stranger shall reign over us. Still, the whole government of Egypt devolved in those days upon Joseph after the death of Pharaoh, he being regulator, doing as he liked throughout the land without anyone interfering. And all Egypt was under the care of Joseph. And Joseph made war with all the surrounding enemies, and he subdued them. Also, all the land of all the Philistines under the borders of Canaan did Joseph subdue, and they were all under the power, and they gave a yearly tax unto Joseph. So this is what has not been revealed to us. Like I said, people not understanding that a lot of the hatred that's around Israel, these Philistines, all these people, we haven't been told this. Joseph subdued all them. Joseph came there, an Israelite, came from just controlling Egypt, came from Egypt and with force, and subdued all them, had them paying taxes. So they didn't want the Israelites to come back. You got to remember they left and they went to Egypt, and so they didn't want them to come back. That's what all the drama was about. We went through the same scenario, like I said, nothing new under the sun. We went through the same scenario when they came back from Babylon. They didn't want them back. So, like I say, so you begin to see now, this ain't nothing but a hopscotch for us to, we making it like it's some big thing, but our forefathers always left the land and came back. So it's our destiny to go back to our land. It's just that this period right here was extended long and all the rest of it. So, like I said, looking at this, you see that we got to go back. So anyway, 7. But there were some people among 8, and all Egypt was under the care of Joseph, and Joseph made war with all the surrounding enemies. He subdued them. Also, all the land and all the Philistines under the borders of the Canaan did Joseph subdue, and they were all under his power and gave him yearly tax under Joseph. And the Pharaoh, king of Egypt, sat upon his throne in his father's stead, but he was under the control and counsel of Joseph. And he was at first under the control of as he was under the control of his father. Neither did he reign, but in the land of Egypt only, under the counsel of Joseph. But Joseph reigned over the whole country at that time, from Egypt under the great river Piroth. Okay, it says, and Joseph was successful in all his ways, and the Lord was with him. And the Lord gave Joseph additional wisdom and honor and glory, and he loved toward him in the hearts of the Egyptians and throughout all the land. And Joseph reigned over the whole country 40 years. So we see right here that Joseph authority and the power that he willed is just as great as what happened with David, or greater. But this hadn't been revealed to us. Like I said, what these people had done, and their objective of the New Testament was to take away our knowledge and to denigrate us and denigrate our understanding. So 12 says, all the countries of the Philistines and Canaan and Zidon and on the other side of Jordan brought presents unto Joseph all his days, and the whole country was in the hand of Joseph, and they brought unto him a yearly tribute as it were regulated, for Joseph had fought against all his surrounding enemies and subdued them, and the whole country was in the hands of Joseph, and Joseph sat securely upon his throne in Egypt. Like I said, we didn't know this. It's a game changer. So 13, and also all his brethren and the sons of Jacob dwelt securely in the land in all days of Joseph, and they were fruitful and multiplied exceedingly in the land, and they served the Lord all their days, and their father Jacob had commanded them. And it came to pass at the end of the many days and years, when the children of Esau were dwelling quietly in their land with Balak their king, that the children of Esau were fruitful and multiplied in the land, and they resolved to go and fight with the sons of Jacob in all Egypt to deliver their brother Zephno, son of Eliphaz, and his men, for they were yet in those days slaves to Joseph. So you see that, like I said before, we come in on the end of the story. It was Edomite ships and Jewish ships that came and got us. and ended up making us slaves. But what has been told us is that Jacob had subdued them, and they were slaves. They were slaves unto the Israelites and Joseph in Egypt. And so now you're starting to see why the Deuteronomy 28 and 68, when the slave ships came, the severity of it. It's a sibling rivalry that's been going on for ages. And what they was doing was they was coming back to get vengeance on what had been done to them in previous time, before time. It says, and there came also unto them of the people of Angus, king of Dinahah, and they also sent unto the children of Ishmael, and they also came unto them. Notice all these nations we talking about that Joseph subdued, they in Psalms 83. That aided the Greeks when they came, and they caused abomination to make a desert. And all the people assembled and came under Seir to assist the children of Esau in their battle. And this camp was very large and heavy with people, numerous as the sands of the sea, about 800,000 men, infantry, cavalry, and all these troops went down to Egypt to fight with the sons of Jacob. And they encamped by Ramesses. Joseph went forth with his brethren, with the mighty men of Egypt, about 600 men, and they fought with them in the land of Ramesses. And the sons of Jacob at that time again fought with the children of Esau in the 50th year of the sons of Jacob going down to Egypt. That is in the 13th year, the 30th year of the reign of Bela over the children of Esau and Seir. And the Lord gave all the mighty men of Esau and the children of the east into the hands of Joseph and his brethren, and the people of the children of the east and the children of the east were smitten before Joseph. Okay, so we like I said, we didn't know all this, that Joseph done all this. It says, and the people of Esau and the children of the east that were slain, there fell before the sons of Jacob, about 200,000 men, and their king Bela, the son of Peor, fell with them in the battle. And when the children of Esau saw that their king had fallen in battle and was dead, their hands became weak in combat. And Joseph and his brethren and all of Egypt were still smiting the people of the house of Esau, and all the Esau people were afraid of the sons of Jacob and fled from them before them. And Joseph and his brethren and all Egypt pursued them a day's journey, and they slew yet from them about 300 men, continued to smite them in the road, and they afterwards turned back from them. And Joseph and his brethren returned to Egypt. Not one man was missing from them, but the Egyptians there fell 12 men. Okay. It says, and when Joseph returned to Egypt, he ordered Zephno and his men to be additionally bound, and they bound them in iron, and they increased their grief. So let's look at that, because ain't that what the Pharaoh did to the Egyptians, to the Israelites? He increased the labor, and he increased the work. And so right here, Joseph did the same thing to the Edomites. And notice how it says he bound them in chains. So how we get over here? We got over here bound in chains. Who was behind it? Esau. Okay, 25. And all the people, the children of Esau and the children of the east, returned in shame, each unto his city, for all the mighty men that were with them had fallen in battle. And when the children of Esau saw that their king had died in battle, they hastened and took a man from the people of the children of the east. His name was Joabab, the son of Zorak, from the land of Bosra, and they caused him to reign over them instead of Bela, their king. So I want you to understand something about that. It says this guy that they chose was from Bosra. Let me show you something, because I think it's important. If you go to Isaiah 63 right quick. Isaiah 63. Bosra is a capital city in Edom, in case you ain't know that. So when you see Bosra, it's a capital city in Esau, in the land of Edom. So I'm in Isaiah 63. Remember, Most High hate Esau and his habitation. So it says in Isaiah 63 and verse 1, who was this that coming from the Edom, who dyed garments from Basra? So I just wanted to connect that dot for you. So now you know why Basra was the capital city, because they had a king that ruled among them from Basra. Okay, and it says in let me see where I'm at. Okay, but from 27, and Jonabad sat upon the throne of Bela as king in his stead. And Jonabad reigned in Edom over the children of Esau 10 years, and the children of Esau went no more to fight with the sons of Jacob from that day forward. For the sons of Esau knew the valor of the sons of Jacob, and they were greatly afraid of them. But from that day forward, the children of Esau hated. See that? The children of Esau hated the sons of Jacob, and the hatred and enmity were very strong. And between them all the days until this day. So now we see why, we see one of the reasons why the transatlantic slave trade was so volatile. It's an ancient hatred that was caught up in that. So it says, and it came to pass after this, at the end of 10 years, Jodad, the son of Zechariah from Bosra, died, and the children of Esau took a man whose name was Cushan from the land of Teman. So Teman is the capital city of Esau. I'm going to show you that in a minute. So it says that from the land of Teman, and they made him king over them instead of Jodad. And Cushan reigned in Edom over the children of Esau for 20 years. Now let's go to Obadiah right quick. Obadiah. It's only one chapter. So it says, I'm gonna start at verse 6. It says, how are the things of Esau sought out? How are his hidden things sought up? All the men of thy confederation have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have received thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a womb under thee. There is none understanding in him. Shall I not in that day, saith the Lord, destroy the wise men of Edom, the understanding out of the mount of Esau, and thy mighty men, O Teman? See that? Shall be dismayed to the end that every one of the mount of Esau may be cut off. So now you have a better understanding of why Teman and Basra being mentioned in the Bible when it concerns Esau. When you see that, you already know it's dealing with Esau. So both of those cities are capital cities in Edom. And the reason being is it's where these home, the birthplace of these kings, these mighty kings that ruled over them at one time. Okay. So it says, and it came to pass after this, at the end of 10 years, Jonadab, the son of Zechariah from Basra, died, and the children of Esau took a man whose name was Cushan from the land of Teman, and they made him king over them instead of Jonadab. And Cushan reigned in Edom over all the children of Esau for 20 years. And Joseph, king of Egypt, and his brethren, and all the children of Esau of Israel dwelt securely in Egypt in those days, together with all the children of Joseph and his brethren, having no hindrance or evil accident. And the land of Egypt was at that time at rest from war in the days of Joseph and his brethren. So we see right here why so much, why all hell broke loose when Joseph died. He had some. Them was all the people that he has to do was his kindred. It's an internal or family affair, and they always hating on the Israelites. They're hating on Joseph because Ammon, Moab, Ishmael, all of them is kinfolks to the Israelites. And so Joseph, at the time of Joseph reigning, he had subdued all them. And he came with force and subdued them. So that's where the hatred coming in at. Okay. Any questions? Okay. So what I'm doing now is I want to go into pick up from this morning. Part 2. It's things hard to believe and to do in Israel, and we had dealt with, you know, some of the things that was hard to do as coming into the understanding once the Most High shine a light on you and you know, caused you to realize the fact that you was an Israelite. Then, you know, there's other things that started coming up, like you know, keeping the Sabbath and clean and unclean food and stuff like that, and Jesus Christ, finding out that he's an idol and all that. So we dealt with that this morning. So what I wanted to shine a light on right here, you know, and at the same time connect some dots, is that you know, the Most High is always talking about houses, and you know, David house and this house and that house and his house. So when you understand that it's a when you start talking about a male had a seed, the female is mitochondria, she don't have a seed. So when you understand that, when you start talking about houses, these houses is males over the house. It's male houses. And so when you go back to the beginning, the Most High created Adam first, then he put Adam to sleep and he made him a helpmeet. We also found out that when a male child is born, it's the woman is in a uncleanliness for 33 days. But when she have a maid child, like the Bible says, he have a maid child, which is a female or woman, the woman is in uncleanliness for 66 days. It's double the time. The woman is in uncleanliness. So then you see that when you understand that, then we understand that the order about the Lord, the master, you know, Yahweh is master over the angels and over the Lord of hosts, Michael master and over the angels and over mankind. Then mankind is master, which is Lord over his house, including the women and children. And so when you look at that, you see that the male Israelite is Lord over his house, which is what the Most High is referring to. It says, and the female Israelite woman is a helpmeet, a maid within his house, right? And say, and the Lord has said it so. I ain't said it, so Most High said it so. So then, so I'm gonna give some examples of that. So, I mean, Zechariah chapter 12. I'm in Zechariah chapter 12, and I'm gonna pick up at verse 8, and I'm gonna read all the way to 14. It says, in that day shall the Lord defend the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and he that is feeble among them at that day shall be as David, and the house of David. See that? The house of David. So it's David's house, and David is a male. Female is like male. And it says, shall be as God, and the angel of the Lord before them. And it shall come to pass in that day that I will seek to destroy all the nations that come against Jerusalem. And I will pour upon the house of David and upon the inhabitants of Jerusalem the spirit of grace and supplication, and they shall look upon me whom they have pierced, and they shall mourn for him as one mourning for his only son, and be in bitterness for him as one that is in bitterness for his firstborn. Now this is where I'm going right here in 11 through 14. In that day there shall be a great mourning in Jerusalem. So now we're gonna look at the construct of Jerusalem itself as the mourning of Hadram in the valley of Megiddo. He's talking about what happened with Joshua, Josiah, when Josiah got killed in that valley right here. He got killed, and they mourned for Josiah. It says 12, and the land shall mourn every family apart, the family of the house of David apart, and their wives. Hold on 1 minute. Yeah, it says so. It says 12. And the land shall mourn every family apart, the family of the house of David apart, and their wives apart, the family of the house of Nathan and apart, and their wives apart. So just like we thinking like a Hebrew, and when we was in Isaiah 44:6, it says, I am the king and my redeemer. So we see right here, he's doing the same thing. Verse 12, the land shall mourn every family apart, the family of the house of David apart, and their wives apart. See that? So like I said before, when you start looking at this, these Gentiles, these Greeks, these Romans, and then made you think that they equal. They was born equal. They was in the garden. They was born equal. They wasn't born equal. And then, because that's just like me trying to compare myself to an angel. We look like the angels, but the angels don't look like us. So the same thing with the woman. She got 2 legs, and she got a head, a brain, and 2 legs and arms like we do, but we ain't equal. It's crazy as hell for me to think that I'm equal to an angel. And so you say, well, what you talking about? Well, when they see the angel, what they got to do? They got to get out on the ground with the face of the ground. That tell you right there, you ain't equal to him. So what did Abigail do when David came? She got down on the ground with her face to the ground. What did Bathsheba do? Got down with her face on the ground. So they go to order right there. Like I said, these are things that being revealed, but they're hard to believe, and then they're hard to deal with, and hard to conform to. But it's being shown to you. So anyway, so he says, 13, the family of the house of Levi apart, and their wives apart. The family of Shimei and their wives apart. It's not a coincidence. It's not a coincidence that he is being listed like that. So let's go back here. And this ain't to denigrate nobody or whatever. It's about getting it prepared to keep from getting zapped when you get over there what the Lord of hosts said. So anyway, so you go back over here to the very beginning. And it says, I'm in chapter 5 of Genesis, and he's listing Adam's descendants. It says, verse 3, and Adam lived 130 years and begot a son in his likeness after his image, and called his name Seth. And the days of Adam after he begot Seth were 800 years, and he begot sons and daughters. So see that he had sons and daughters. They his sons. That's his house. The wife, whoever she is a handmaid. She's a helpmeet to him. She's not even listed. 4, 5. All the days of Adam lived after he had 930 years, and he died. Seth lived 105 years and begot Enoch. And Seth lived after he begot Enoch 807 years and begot sons and daughters. And all the days of Seth were 912 years, and he died. Enoch lived 90 years, and he begot Canaan. And Enoch lived after he begot Canaan 850 years and begot sons and daughters. See that? Them sons and daughters, his seed. It's the total opposite of what the construct of what these Gentiles are set up that we over here dealing with today. So he letting you know, he making a point off the top to show you who the seed is belong to. He's showing you right here who it belonged to. We see it over in Zechariah, and we see it right here in Genesis when he listing the genealogy, listing the males when they was born. You know, and like I said, there ain't no coincidence. And then you go to even the 7 angels that he created: Michael, Raphael, Jeremiel. You don't see Rita Tanya El. You don't see none of that. All you see is male angels. And like I said, I ain't do it. And we can even go back to the fact when I was telling you about when I first came into this. I wasn't looking for the Israelites to be black. When the Most High flipped my switch on, then I started searching. I didn't give a damn what they look like. All I want to know was who they was and where they was located at and all that. But come to find out, I was Israelite. And my ancestors and all them was Israelites. I didn't go looking to try to make them black. Just like I ain't doing this. I ain't trying to make this stuff say what I wanted to say. The Most High is being revealed. And so what you do after it's being revealed, then you start making adjustments. It's like you know, I was telling you about the pork chop this morning. The pork chop back in the day, they was good as hell. It's impossible to be good to me now for what I know. And then, like I say, all you have to do is take a pork chop and put some hot water on it, worms in it. So you know what I mean? So then you come to find out it's a reason why he's telling you not to eat it. Yeah. So anyway, so like I said, I ain't. It's nothing I'm trying to impose or strong on nobody about. So let me give you one more precept on that. 2 Samuel chapter 7. Second Samuel chapter 7. Just dealing with the house in the the mail over the house. It says chapter 7, 14, 12 through 14 says, and when the days are fulfilled and thou shalt sleep with thy father, I will set up thy seed, which is son after thee, which shall proceed out of thy bowels, and I will establish his kingdom. He shall build a house for my name, and I shall establish the throne of his kingdom forever. I will be his father. He shall be my son. If he commit iniquity, I will chasten him with the rod of men, with the stripes of the children of men. So we see right there, even the Most High got a house. The Lord of hosts got a house. So who is his firstborn son? Adam. And now you see why this is going the way it is. Adam is his firstborn son. So it's like Hebrews and Hebrew Israelites alike, that's his house. And all he's doing is protecting his house. Just like every other man is protected to protect their house. So let's look at another thing. This same angel right here, the Lord of hosts, showed up in Genesis 18. And look what he did. He's in verse 9. He got two things accomplished. You got to go and deal with the sin that reached up to heaven from Sodom and Gomorrah. You got to go and deal with that. And at the same time, it's a prophesied son in the book of life that's in heaven that he has to go and inform Abraham about, because Abraham been inquiring about it. He don't have no heir to his possessions and to his house. So he's going to tell him that. So he shows up at his house in verse 9, 18 and 9. And they said unto him, where is Sarah thy wife? And he said, behold, in the tent. Why are you asking about Sarah? Because he took Adam and put Adam to sleep and made Eve to help me. A son finna be born. So who gonna carry the son? To help me. So he said, I will certainly return unto thee according to the time of life. And lo, Sarah thy wife shall have a son. And Sarah heard it in the tent door, which was behind him. And Abraham said to Sarah, and Abraham and Sarah were old and stricken in age and ceased to be with Sarah after the manner of a woman. So we see why he doing this. Like I said, that's the order. That's why he's showing up. He ain't showing up over there to get on no potato pies. He see Isaac name that came up in the book of life. And he came down here to by command of Yahweh to inform Abraham that Isaac gonna be born in 9 months, according to the time of life. And he say, I'll be back in 9 months. When it's time for him to have a baby. And so, like I said before, it ain't none of his son. It's the Lord of hosts' son. But he came through Abraham. So you say, what you talking about? Well, we just saw this morning where David had plans to build a temple And then the Lord of hosts told him, you ain't building no temple. Solomon gonna build it. My son, you're gonna be dead. And David understood that. He ain't get no back talk. He ain't buck. He understood that. He was thinking like a Hebrew. His mind wasn't polluted like ours is. From all these 2,500 years of lies and distortion and everything else that happened to us over here. Okay, so I'm still in 2 Samuel 7. I'm gonna read 28 and 29. And 29. This David talking to the Lord of hosts. I'm gonna start at 27. For thou, O Lord of hosts, God of Israel, has revealed to thy servant, this David talking, saying, I will build thee a house. Therefore have thy servant found in his heart to pray this prayer unto thee. So we see that. We see the heart. We go to heart again. It says, and now, O Lord God, thou art that God, and thy words are true, and thou hast promised this goodness unto thy servant. So he said, whatever the Lord of hosts saying is true. He ain't fumbling with it. He already know it's true. What you proclaim and what you send forth from your mouth, I know it's true, and I know it's gonna come to pass. He ain't going to the right hand or the left. He going right to do it. We see how he reacted when he told him he wasn't gonna build a house. You know his words is true. So he went on to the next thing. So he said 29. Therefore now let it please thee to bless the house of thy servant. What house? The house where he got all his children there and the handmaids he got in there. 7 or 8 handmaids and all the children from them. Says, bless the house of thy servant, that it may continue forever before the Lord. For thou, O Lord God, hast spoken it, and with thy blessings, let the house of thy servant be blessed forever. Okay, so it ain't Abigail's house. It ain't Bathsheba's house. It ain't Michelle's house. It's the house of David. Okay, so now I'm in. I want to show you. So the order is that if David got a house, then David, the Lord over that house, David got to protect that house. Well, within David's house, David in a house. I showed you the Lord of hosts. His firstborn son was Adam. So he got a house. So he got to protect his house. So let's look at that. And then within that house, he got David's house that he lifted up above all the houses. So I'm in Jeremiah chapter 11. Jeremiah chapter 11. So it says, let me see. Okay. Okay, I'm in chapter 11. I'm reading verses 1 through 17. The word that came to Jeremiah from the Lord, saying, hear ye words of the covenant, and speak unto the men of Judah and unto the inhabitants of Jerusalem. These men of Judah is his house. They're part of his house. They came forth from Adam. You know, Hebrews, then the ones that crossed over on the boat, and then the Israelites, the ones that wrestled. He had a son that wrestled with him, Jacob. He changed his name to Israel. So this is house right here. And he says, hear ye the word of the covenant. He got a covenant with his house. And speak unto the men of Judah and to the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and say unto them, thus saith the Lord God of Israel, cursed be the man that obeyeth not the words of this covenant, which I commanded your fathers in the day that I brought them forth out of the land of Egypt, from the iron furnace, saying, obey my voice, and do them according to all which I command you. So shall ye be my people, and I will be your God, that I may perform the oath which I have sworn unto you to your fathers, to give them a land flowing with milk and honey, as it was this day. Then answered I and said, so be it, O Lord. So what are you doing? He, just like David got to take care of his house and provide for his house, he got to provide for his house. He came to Egypt and got his children and brought them to a goodly place, laying milk and honey, and set them up. 6, then the Lord said unto me, proclaim all these words in the cities of Judah and in the streets of Jerusalem, saying, hear ye the words of this covenant and do them. For I honestly protested unto your fathers in the day that I brought them up out of the land of Egypt, even unto this day, rising early, protested, saying, obey my voice. Yet they obeyed not, nor inclined their ear, but walked everyone in the imagination of their evil heart. Therefore, I will bring upon them all the words of this covenant, which I commanded them to do, but they did them not. So it says, and the Lord said unto me, a conspiracy is found among the men of Judah and among the inhabitants of Jerusalem. See that again? We're going to read it again. And the Lord said unto me, a conspiracy is found amongst the men of Judah. See that? And the inhabitants of Jerusalem. See that? Conjunction. So they are turned back to the iniquity of their forefathers, which refused to hear my words, and they went after other gods to serve them. The house of Israel, that's his house, and the house of Judah have broken my covenant, which I have made with their fathers. Therefore, thus saith the Lord, behold, I will bring evil upon them, which they shall not be able to escape. And though they shall cry unto me, I will not hearken unto them. Then shall the cities of Judah and the inhabitants of Jerusalem go and cry unto the gods unto whom they offer incense, but they shall not save them at all in the time of their trouble. So let's look at that, because this happened right in front of our face. He says, then shall the city, he cast them out. That's what we cast out right now. Then shall the cities of Judah and the inhabitants of Jerusalem go and cry unto other gods, unto whom they offer incense, but they shall not save them in the time of their trouble. So we've been over 400 years crying after Jesus. Now we've been saved yet? Hell no, because he just told you right there we ain't going to be saved, because we're dealing with an idol. So he says, 13, for according to the number of thy cities where thy gods of Judah, and according to the number of the streets of Jerusalem, have ye set up altars to the shameful thing, even altars to burn incense unto Baal. Therefore, pray not thou for this people, neither lift up a cry or a prayer for them, for I will not hear them in the time that they cry unto me or for their trouble. So we see where the clarity is coming in at. This is what's happening. We doing exactly what he just read at 14. Therefore, pray not thou. He tell you don't pray. We didn't came up with all these imaginations in our mind. Verse 8, yet they obeyed not, nor inclined their ear, but walked every man in his own imagination. That's where we at. A matrix of imagination, going around with imagining all this bullshit. And so he says, therefore, pray thou not for this people, neither lift or cry the prayer for them, for I will not hear them in the time that they cry unto me for their. So that's what's happening. He's not hearing us. It ain't that Jesus is waiting for something. It's just he's an idol, but our God and turned his face from us. He ain't hearing us. We notice it now that he's starting to turn his face back to us. So 16, the Lord called thy name a green olive tree, fair and of goodly fruit, with the noise of a great tumult. He have kindled the fire upon it, and the branches of it are broken. For the Lord of hosts that planted thee have pronounced evil against thee, for the evil of the house of Israel and the house of Judah, which they have done against themselves, to provoke me to anger, and offering incense unto Baal. So he told them at Mount Sinai and through Moses the prophet to offer the incense to him. But they ended up offering the incense to everybody but him. And he cast them out, his house. Okay? So what I'm going to do is go to 17. Okay, well, I was looking for this verse right here. I'm going to go to the prophecies against the kings of Judah. That's the house of David. So I'm in Jeremiah 22. I'm in Jeremiah for a reason, because just like Jeremiah, he's warning them before they went into captivity in Babylon. So we're in the same predicament. So it's I'm in 22. So the Lord of hosts is the Father. He got a house. Israel is his house. Jacob, 12 sons is his house. So he says, and he got a covenant with David. So I'm gonna pick up in 21, the last 4 verses in 21, because he's, in order for him to deal with Jerusalem, he got to deal with the house of David. The house of David there. He got a covenant with David. So he can't just come in there any kind of way because he got a covenant with David. So we say, so I'm in 11, and touching the house of King of Judah. So he coming to the head of the Israelites, and touching the house of the King of Judah, say, hear ye the word of the Lord. Now look what the first thing he do. Verse 12, O house of David. He can't just run up in there because he got a covenant with David. He says, O house of David, thus saith the Lord, execute judgment in the morning, and deliver him that is spoiled out of the hands of the oppressor, lest my fury go out like fire and burn that none can quench it, because the evil of your doings. Right? It says, behold, I am against thee, O inhabitants of the valley, and the rock of the plains, saith the Lord, which saith, who shall come down against us, or who shall enter into our habitation? They done got puffed up because they got the Lord of hosts with them. They don't think nobody can come against them. So 14 says, but I will punish you according to the fruit of your doing, saith the Lord, and I will kindle a fire in the forest thereof, and it shall devour all the things round about. Now we come into verse 22, and he's approaching his house as a mayor over the house, and he says, thus saith the Lord, go down. He's talking to Jeremiah. Thus saith the Lord, go down to the house of the king of Judah. Speak there this word. So he's sending him to the king, which is at the house of David. He continuously referring the house of David because he got a covenant with David. And say, hear ye the word, O Lord, O King of Judah, that sitteth upon the throne of David, thou and thy servants and thy people that enter in by these gates. Thus saith the Lord, execute ye judgment and righteousness, deliver the spoils out of the hands of the oppressor, and do no wrong and the violence to the stranger. Now watch this. We brought this up this morning about the women that's not with a man, and the women that the widow. It ain't no such thing now since we've been over here with the Gentiles as a widow, because our mind been screwed all up. So we say right here, this is 3. Thus saith the Lord, execute judgment in the righteousness, and deliver the spoils out of the hands of the oppressor, and do no wrong, do no violence to the stranger, right? The fatherless, that's the orphans, the children with the orphans, nor his widow. See that? So the orphan and the widow go hand in hand. The orphan come about from the male, the man of the house died. And now it's a widow there and it's orphans there. And who's responsible for it? You got 2 messiahs. David, the king. So he says, nor the widow, neither shed innocent blood in this place. So that's what the son, under us, the son is given. That's his responsibility. But these Gentiles have put a twist on it. Say, for if ye do this thing indeed, look at this, if you do all what I just read, then shall there enter in by the gates of this house kings sitting upon the throne of David, riding in chariots and on horses, he and his servants and his people. But if ye will not hear these words, I swear by myself, saith the Lord, that this house, his house, he the man of the house, shall become a desolation. For thus saith the Lord unto the kings of the house of Judah, thou art Gilead unto me, and the head of Lebanon, yet surely I will make thee a wilderness and a city which are not inhabited. Now, this is what I want you to get. I just want everybody, prophets of awakening, to get an understanding on. And like I said, I ain't concoct none of this. So this the God right here, the Lord of hosts that we dealing with right here. I'm going to read it to you. It says, I will prepare destroyers against thee, everyone with his weapon, and they shall cut down thy choice cedars and cast them into the fire. And many nations shall pass by this city, and they shall say, every man to his neighbor, wherefore have the Lord done this unto this great city? They shall answer, because they have forsaken the covenant of the Lord their God, and worship other gods and serve them. Weep ye not. Look at this. So the Gentile got you talking about the little kid and the mama and all this bull crap. So look what he say. Weep ye not for the dead, neither bemoan him, but weep sore for him that goeth away, for he shall return no more, nor see his native country. For thus saith the Lord, touching Shulam, the son of Josiah, king of Judah, which reigned instead of Josiah's father, which went forth out of this place, he shall not return thither anymore. Look at this. But he shall die in the place whether they have laid him captive, and he shall see the land no more. Woe unto him that buildeth his house by unrighteousness, and his chambers by wrong, that useth his neighbor's service without wages, and giveth him not his work. Thus says the Lord, I will build me a wide house and a large chamber, and cutteth him out with windows, and it is sealed with cedar and painted with vermilion. Shall thou reign, because thou clothest thyself in cedar? Did not thy fathers eat and drink and do judgment and justice? And then it was well with him. He judges the cause of the poor and the needy. Then it was well with him. Was not this to know me, saith the Lord? But thine eyes and thine heart are not but for a covetousness, and for the shed of innocent blood, and for oppression, and for violence to do it. Therefore, thus saith the Lord concerning Jehoiakim, the son of Joshua, king of Judah, they shall not laminate for him. Look at this, saying, all my brothers all my sisters, they shall not laminate for him, saying, O Lord, or his glory. He shall be buried. Look at this. He shall be buried with an ass, and drawn and cast out forth by the gates of Jerusalem. Go up to Lebanon and cry, and lift up thy voice in Bashan, and cry from the passages, for all thy lovers are destroyed. I spake unto thee in thy prosperity, but thou saidst, I would not hear. Thus have been thy manner from thy youth, that thou obeyest not my voice. The wind shall eat up all thy pastors, and thy lovers shall go into captivity. Surely thou shalt be ashamed and confounded for all thy wickedness. So this dude Jehoiakim is out of David's lineage, but we know what he done. He was wicked as hell, and the Most High had him killed, and they threw him outside the gate. They ain't have no sepulcher for him, and that's what I'm saying right here now. You can go over there sideways if you want to, and they'll be throwing you out the gate, cause the Most High ain't going for the okie doke. Like I said, he warned Moses at Mount Sinai. Tell them, don't break through. Put borders around the mountain. Tell them, don't break through and come running up here. Cause Rhonda might love you, or Ricky might love you, but you come up here or sideways, you're gonna get zapped. That's the order of things. That's how the Most High works. He ain't got no other choice because of who he is. And you have to understand that. So it's best to do your due diligence and search it out and get in the right place with somebody that know what they talking about. And that's how the Most High works. He ain't going for the okie doke. You can't come at him, like a man, regular man, because he ain't no regular man. He ain't going for the okie doke. He got rules and he got regulations and all that surrounding him, because he got a counselor that he got to answer to. And he's gonna put some roller skates on you if you come up there the wrong way. So I want to go to Jeremiah 20. Jeremiah 20 and 7 through 18. It says, O Lord, thou hast deceived me, and I was deceived. Thou art stronger than I have prevailed. I am a derision daily. Everyone mocked me. For since I spake, I cried out. I cried violence and spoils, because the word of the Lord made a reproach unto me, and a derision daily. So what's going on is the Most High, the Lord of hosts, came to Jeremiah and told him, go tell my house, people in my house, this, that, and another, right? Jeremiah could have not done it. But it's repercussions to that. But because he did, he went and told them, thus said the Lord. He ain't trying to pacify nobody. He's standing before the Lord. Lord told him something. He went and told them what the Lord told him. He He didn't go, and when he got there, certain people he trying to pacify or babysit. He didn't do that. He says, he told him what the Most High told him to say, and because of that, he says, for since I spake, I cried out. He told him what the Most High told him. I cried violence and spoils, because the word of the Lord was made a reproach unto me and a derision daily. So, but he told him, burning inside of him. If you don't tell the people what he said, it ain't going nowhere. It's gonna burn him up if you don't tell him what he said. So 9, then I said, I will not make mention of him, nor speak any more in his name, but his words was in my heart as a burning of fire shut up in my bones, and I was weary with the forbearing, and I could not stay. So let's look at that, because I know for a fact and for a doubt that people on this line and experience this. So you came into this understanding, and it was shown to you that Jesus Christ was nothing, and that he was an idol. And then you dealt with it for a minute. Then you wanted to get away from it, and you try to get away from it, but you can't. That's what Jeremiah telling you right here. And the word, the truth is you can't get away from the truth. It's gonna burn you up until you deal with it. So he says, 9, I said I will not make mention of him. So the Lord, I ain't gonna make mention of him, nor speak anymore in his name, right? Speak anymore in his name, but his words was in my heart as a burning fire shut up in my bone, and I was weary with forbearing, and I could not stay. That's exactly what happened when you're dealing with the truth. That's gonna happen until you deal with it. So 10, for I heard the defaming of many, fear on every side, reports say they, and we will report it. All my familiars watch for my halting, saying, peradventure he will be enticed, and we shall prevail against him, and we shall take our revenge on him. But the Lord is with me as a mighty terrible one. Therefore my prosecutors shall stumble, and they shall not prevail. They shall be greatly ashamed, for they shall not prosper. Their everlasting confusion shall never be forgotten. But, O Lord of hosts, that triumph the righteous and seeth the reins of the heart, let me see thy vengeance on them, for unto thee have I opened my cause. Sing unto the Lord, praise ye the Lord, for he hath delivered the soul of the poor from the hand of the evildoer. Cursed be the day wherein I was born. Let not that day wherein my mother bore me be blessed. Cursed be the man who brought tidings to my father, saying, a man child is born unto thee, making him very glad. So Jeremiah got issues because the Most High didn't put a word in him, and the word is burning him up. So, like I said before, you thinking that it's something else, but the Most High done brought the word to you, and he brought the truth to you. And I can say that because I did the same thing. I tried to put it off on the shelf because I'm like, I ain't the one to be talking about this. I try to put it off on the shelf, but you can't put it on the shelf. You're gonna either do it or you're gonna come up missing. You have to deal with it. If the Most High brought you in contact with it, then you got to deal with it. You can fumble with it if you want. So, I'm gonna read one. Let me see. I want to shine a light on something. Then I'm gonna open it up for Q&A. I'm gonna open up for Q&A. I'm gonna read. I was telling you about how you see all through the scriptures how the Most High is making a difference between the male and the female, right? So I'm in the story of Esther, and I told you that Esther is not no book of Esther. It's the book of Mordecai, but they done flipped it around because of what they're doing in the way Mary handling the 12 apostles, and which is unnatural. It don't happen in the Israel. So they had to go back and finagle the Old Testament, make it look like that's common thing within the Israelite culture, that women doing that, but that ain't the case. So Esther is out of the book of Mordecai, but we're gonna go back and look at it, the order that I presented to you, and we're gonna see how Esther and Mordecai acting with each other. Esther. Okay, I gotta go to the Apocrypha. I'm in the Apocrypha. It says, Okay, I'm in the Apocrypha, in the book of Esther and Apocrypha, and I'm in chapter 4. I'm starting at verse 1. It says, when Mordecai learned of all that had been done, he tore his clothes, put on sackcloth, sprinkled himself with ashes. Then he rushed through. Okay, he says he rushed through the streets of the city, shouting loudly, an innocent nation is being destroyed. He got as far as the king's gate, and there he stopped, because no one was allowed to enter the courtyard clothed in sackcloth and ashes. And in every province where the king's proclamation had been posted, there was a loud cry of mourning and lamentation among the Jews, and they put on it sackcloth and ashes. When the queen's maids and the eunuchs came to and told her, she was deeply troubled by what she had heard and what had happened. And she sent some clothes. Look at this. She sent some clothes to Mordecai to put on instead of sackcloth, but he would not consent. Then Esther summoned, I don't know his name, Herodotus, the eunuch who attended to her, and ordered him to get accurate information for her from Mordecai. So Mordecai told him what had happened, and how Haman had promised to pay 10,000 talents into the royal treasury to bring about the destruction of the Jews. He also gave him a copy of what had been posted in Susa for their destruction to show Esther. And he told him, look at this. See what I'm saying? I want you to see this. He says, and he told him to charge her to go into the king. So Esther didn't come up with the idea to go into the king. Mordecai at the gate telling her what to do. You say, now watch this though. He says, when you know the story, Mordecai raised her. Her parents during the destruction of Babylon, when Nebuchadnezzar came, her parents got killed, and Mordecai raised her. So it says he told him to charge her to go into the king's house and plead for his favor in behalf of the people. Remember, he said, the days when you was an ordinary person before she became a queen, being brought up under my care. For Haman, who stands next to the king, has spoken against us and demands our death. Call upon the Lord, then speak to the king on our behalf and save us from death. Herodotus went in and told Esther all the things, and she said unto him, go to Mordecai and say, all the nations of the empire know that if any man or woman goes into the king inside the inner courtyard court without him being called, there's no escape for that person. Only one of whom the king stretches out the golden scepter is safe. And it is now 30 days since I was called to go into the king. So, like I said, it behooves you to go watch that movie, The King and I. But anyway, so this I told you Nebuchadnezzar, this Babylonian kingdom and the Medes and Persians, Nebuchadnezzar saw the Most High order. He got 7 chamberlains. Just like the Most High got 7 archangels, he got 7 chamberlains. And he over those 7 chamberlains, and when they go and have a meeting, can't nobody come in there. If somebody come in there, if Artaxerxes don't raise that golden scepter up, they're gonna kill him off the top. So that's Esther's predicament. So he says, let me see. For if you keep quiet, go back up. It says, Esther, do not say to yourself that you alone among all the Jews will escape. This Mordecai talking to her, comforting her. She ain't doing it. For if you keep quiet at such a time as this, help and protection will come to the Jews from another quarter. But you and your family and your father's family will perish. A father's household, right? Yet, who know whether it was not for such a time as this that you were made queen? Then Esther gave the messenger this answer to make back to Mordecai. Go and gather all the Jews who are in Susa and fast on my behalf for 3 days and 3 nights. Do not eat or drink. And my maids and I will also go without food. And after that, I will go to the king contrary to the law. See that? That's what we got to do. They told you, they said, put some butter on the damn lobster. Put some butter on the catfish. It's good. But Esther saying, no, I ain't eating the catfish. I ain't doing it. I'm going contrary to that. I'm going contrary to what the Gentiles have told me. So she says, after that, I will go, says, let me get to it. 3 days and 3 nights, we will not eat or drink. And my maids and I will also be without food. After that, I will go into the king contrary to the law, knowing he's going to kill him, even if I must die. So Mordecai went away and did what Esther had told him. Says, then Mordecai prayed for the Lord. Look at this. See, it's Mordecai's house. Esther out of Mordecai's house. Then it says, then Mordecai prayed to the Lord, calling to remembrance all the works of the Lord. He said, oh Lord, see, he going to his Lord. He's Esther's Lord. He going to his Lord now on Esther's behalf. He said, oh Lord, you rule as king over all things, for the universe is in your power, and there is not one who can oppose you when it is your will to save Israel. For you have made heaven and earth and every wonderful thing under heaven. You are the Lord of all, and there is no one who can resist you, the Lord. You know all things. You know, O Lord, that it was not in insultance or pride or for any love of glory that I do this and refuse to bow down to the proud Haman, for I would have been willing to kiss the sole of his feet to save Israel. But I did this so that I might not set human glory above the glory of God. See, our forefathers knew that. I will not bow down to anyone but you, who is my Lord, and I will not do these things in pride. And lo, O Lord God and King, God of Abraham, spare your people, for the eyes of our foes are upon us to annihilate us, and they desire to destroy the inheritance that has been yours from the beginning. See that? So we see this ain't Yahweh right here. Over and over again, we see that. He said, this has been your inheritance. Can't nobody give Yahweh nothing. So from the beginning, this was his inheritance. But they tell you from the beginning, it was JC inheritance. And from the beginning, JC created all things. But let's look what Mordecai said, and I'm going to close. Right quick. Okay, Mordecai said in verse 9, he said, oh Lord, you rule as king over all things, for the universe is in your power, and there's no one who can oppose you when it is your will to save Israel. For you have made the heavens and the earth, everything wonderful under the heavens. But they tell you in John, 2/3 through the book, that Jesus wasn't nothing made without Jesus. He made all the things. But they tell you right here, Mordecai already understands it. Our forefathers understand that. There was the Lord of hosts that done all this. Wasn't nobody hiding in the bosom nowhere. So, like I said before, we see the same thing that we talked about this morning, that they wanted you to think Rebecca went and inquired of the Lord, but Rebecca went to Abraham, and Rebecca went to Isaac. And then they prayed, just like Mordecai did right here. And then same thing with Sarah. The Lord of hosts came to Abraham, it was Abraham's house. And he consulted with Abraham. And he told Abraham that your wife, the one I gave you, she gonna conceive, I'll open her womb up. She gonna have a child. We're gonna name him Isaac. So we see the order right there. So what I'm gonna do is close it out right there and get a little Q&A, and then we're gonna close out. Any questions or comments?
Shalom, shalom.
Shalom.
So, are you saying when you talk about Esther and Mordecai, in times past, reading the story of Esther, I didn't understand that she got the idea of fasting for 3 days from Mordecai.
Yeah, Mordecai instructing her from the gate, because nobody can go within the gate. So he come to the gate, and they was working. She was getting all counseling from Mordecai from her male servant back to Mordecai, back and forth. He's doing all the consulting. And he forced her to go in there before the king.
Right.
They want you to know that.
And so is the understanding that Esther acted upon the instructions of Mordecai because she understood the protocol in the nation?
Right. And then like I said, people don't understand that Esther, Esther is not Mordecai's biological daughter.
Right.
He brought her in.
Right.
So
Right.
so what you talking about? He just asked him a question. He kept asking all the queen. He asked all the kings that. Did you deal with the fatherless?
Mm-hmm.
Did you worry about the widow? So he already know your heart ain't your heart ain't involved if you ain't did that. He already know you ain't right.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's commonplace. Ain't that what Boaz did?
Right.
Boaz showed up and he first thing he did was made sure that Naomi and Esther had found an area where they could glean from
Right.
on
Naomi
the
and Ruth.
corner of the vineyard. Huh?
Mm-hmm. I said Naomi and Ruth.
Ruth, yeah. Naomi and Ruth.
Okay, Leonard. So let me ask you this. When the Hebrew Israelite woman yields to the authority of her Lord, the Hebrew Israelite man that is over her, is the understanding if he instructs her to do something that turns out not to please the Lord of hosts gonna get him, right?
Right, exactly. And that's the Susanna. Like I said, go look at the story of Susanna in the Apocrypha when it was what they don't want you to know, it was Israelites in the land, Edomites. And just like with Judith, these women it wasn't people talking about the Israelite man wanted to he goes for the woman with the shapely body and all that. All of them had shapely bodies because they all came from Sarah. The Most High made sure of that. It ain't like it is now. So because we didn't intermingle and we didn't brought all these other adaptations to our the man figure and the woman figure. But before that, all of them looked like that. So then the men had to go around worrying about that. They already know. You already got something good. You ain't got to worry about that. But we didn't mess that all up from sin and disobedience.
And so understanding the protocol in the Hebrew Israelite nation, women who we know that we're out of order, and we're out of order because we're in a strange land among heathens that worship idols. So we understand that we're out of order, but is the understanding because we are out of order as Hebrew Israelite women in a strange land, we have taken on some responsibilities that really belong to the man. So the weight on our shoulders is heavy with responsibilities that really belong to the man.
Right. So where you at? Like I said before, I'm not trying to impose nobody or pull nobody in a certain direction or whatever. All I'm doing is laying the information out there. It's better to have the information than don't have it, because then it would govern your conversation and govern your actions. Because like I said, if you're a single parent and you got 3 kids and you got $50,000 in the bank, you're gonna deal a different way knowing you got $50,000 in the bank than a single parent and you ain't got nothing in the bank.
Right.
So it's the same thing. You seeing that you're Israelite woman, you know you're Israelite woman, and you know that a man supposed to be doing his responsibility, but he ain't. But you got the knowledge to understand that, yeah, I gotta do this and that, but you had a knowledge of how it really goes.
Right.
And that's what you're supposed to be doing. It's better than not having the knowledge than dealing with that and not having the knowledge.
Okay. So as a Hebrew Israelite woman in this Western matrix, I have raised 4 children as a single parent. Now that doesn't, this is, so the understanding of the truth of how the protocol works in the nation of Israel does not take anything away from women who have had to raise their children. That's what we have to do in this heathen land, in this strange land under the curses. So kudos to all of us and all the women that had to function in that. However, we still need to understand why as a single parent, things were so difficult. We made it. You know what I'm saying? We made it. We did the best that we could. We were strong, whatever we needed to be. However, we need to understand part of why we had to raise our children as single parents is because of what we're under. We're under the curses as a result of disobedience. Is that right?
Right. Well, you got to phrase it in better terms. It's called what the
Okay.
Lord of hosts, cause what the Lord of hosts done.
Okay.
Right. So it's called what he done. So to know that is a relief of mind. And so then you got to know that if he done that, then he's gonna do what else he said. It's part two to it.
Okay. For example, so if he helped us to succeed at being a single parent, then he's gonna also come back and return us to
He's gonna return.
Is that what you're saying?
Right. He's gonna just like he scattered us, he's gonna regather us.
Okay.
So
Okay.
you can't like Mordecai just said, you can't change it. You can't change what he didn't spoke. What he didn't spoke forth is vibrating through the whole universe. How the hell you gonna change it?
Okay.
So once to know what happened is that's the best part about it. It's like to know who your redeemer is.
Yes.
See what I'm saying?
So to understand our predicament,
Right.
to know why, it's better, or you better understand why we're functioning the way that we are.
Right, and then you can sow that. You're gonna sow that understanding into your kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whereas your parents didn't understand that it wasn't sown into you, but it's being sown to you now. Now you sow it into the kids, and so you say, "Well, what you talking about?" That's a sign. It's that sign. That's like you got a watermelon patch. You go out there, you see they getting bigger and bigger every day. You gonna come out there one day. It's time to cut it.
Mm-hmm.
Cut it from the vine and sell it or whatever you're gonna or eat it. It's the same way with that. If you had a generation now that this information is coming forth and that information being passed to the next generation, that's a sign. The Most High on his way back.
Mm-hmm.
Because our forefathers ain't they ain't know nothing 2 generations ago. This stuff wasn't out.
Mm-hmm. So let me ask you this. Oftentimes as single parents, whether it's a single parent male or whether it's a single parent female, both of them are out of order because it's supposed to be 2 parents there, right?
Right.
Okay. So oftentimes we are being made to feel, and this is on a national level through the news and all of that children raised by single parents lack something. How do how should single parents think about that when they're made to feel that their children that are being raised in single family homes, sometimes they call them at risk?
Yeah, it's out of order. It's out of order. It's the same thing if it don't rain. If it don't rain, the grass die, and the flowers and the produce die. So it's the same thing. It's the father to the household is the same as the water, the rain is to the ground, to the land. That's just the way that's the way he set it in place. But we in the curses.
Yeah. Okay. That's what I'm saying. So that reporting of children from single parent homes having a lack of something, you would say that is accurate?
Oh yeah, exactly. Because of, like I said, the way the Most High set it in order is you thinking that it's just, it's just you married a man and the man just after the man, you got a relationship with a man, y'all had kids, but it's way more than that. The Most High God, it's the spiritual side too.
Mm-hmm.
It's a spiritual side to the man being there. And so you say, well, you talking about what? Look at, we know that the Lord of hosts got a house, and so look what the Egyptian and the Egyptian and the Greeks done. They start worshiping the moon and all that. But our Father was there with us. We're not worshiping the sun. We got the truth of the matter.
Okay.
We're different type of child.
Okay. Okay. So as single mothers, we do the best we can, but the fact of the matter is that the whole puzzle pieces are not there. And as a result of that, under the Lord of Hosts' order, there is going to be some lack.
Right. It's gonna be
Okay.
some lack. But like I said, you up until this point, you've been praying to the wrong person for assistance.
Yeah.
So you pray to the right person makes a difference. So yeah, that's the reason why, like I said, every time we go into a lesson, I try to go all the way to the bottom of it. Yeah. Right.
Okay, and then the last thing is I really appreciate the reminder that the Lord of Hosts is working behind the scenes, and that He shows up to bring to full manifestation, what's in the book. Like you say, He showed up to Abraham because He knew it was time to open Sarah's womb. And the same thing with Moses when they was killing little babies in Egypt. The Lord of Hosts saw to it that Moses was protected. So it's always Him behind the scenes. And I would like to think that you can correct me, but I would like to think that the Lord of Hosts strengthens the single parents or helps us to endure even in the predicament that we in. I don't know if I'm thinking the right way about that.
Right. Well, he already showed himself, so he already at work with all that. That's how that works.
Okay, thank you.
Time appointed.
Okay.
Anybody else?
Yeah, there's two questions in the chat.
Okay, what is
One
it?
says, is it possible that Mordecai was directed by the Lord of Hosts to fast for 3 days?
Yeah. Mordecai got it from the Lord of Hosts, and Mordecai gave it to Esther. That's the order.
Okay. The second question is, what do you think of born?
Well, like I said before, all you can do is proclaim and profess the order that Most High set in place, but to denigrate somebody born out of wedlock, that ain't good. It's a matter of proclaiming what the order and what the Most High said in His laws and precepts. That's on him. He's gonna deal with it. It's not nobody's job to denigrate somebody because they were born out of wedlock.
Yeah, but even that though isn't that's I mean, when you really look at the content,
Say again.
I said the union of intercourse between two people that's really what brings forth a seed.
Right.
So, Western European thing.
Right. Exactly. Right. Yeah. So like I said, what we starting to learn now is not to adhere to what the Gentiles say. Well, they've been lying for like 2,500 years, so it's time to cast them out.
Right.
Yeah. You got anything else?
No, that was it.
Okay. Yeah. So being that we went so long this morning, we're gonna shut it down right here. And I'm gonna say shalom, and another shalom. And I'll see everybody on Wednesday night. And I see the men on Tuesday night on men's line.